and we're looking at, okay, well, where does OT or operational technology and IT or informational technology meet?
That's
And
right.
that's why I said it is a little bit, as complex as standard supply chain management using IoT and blockchain and smart contracts is. We have the added benefit of also needing to consider the operational technology, and that's the like I said, OT IT bridge. And where those two intersect is something that a lot of utilities are just starting to figure out. And when you're talking about cybersecurity, the IT side of things is pretty well set because they've always been thinking about cybersecurity.
That's
The
right.
OT side of things, we'll have, and here's where, again, that utility hack down in Florida really kind of brought things to the forefront back in February. And we're like, oh, wow, we are grossly unprepared for this. So, you there, that OT side is where the weak link in the cybersecurity strength is,
Wow.
where you will have somebody who maybe they, forget their password a lot. So they'll put on a sticky note and put that sticky note right on the corner of the monitor, or they will share it around, or there will be one password for every computer at the entire
Mm,
facility. This way people don't have to memorize different passwords for different computers. Okay, well, it makes the operational job easier, but it's a stunning flaw in the cybersecurity infrastructure.
absolutely.
So trying to, okay, well, most critical infrastructure, not just water and wastewater, but power, nuclear, oil and gas, these companies use a thing called SCADA, or supervisory control and data acquisition.
Mm,
So basically it's supposed to be kind of like that big go-between between you have the some sensors that are out in your system. They generate data. That data gets uploaded to this SCADA system.
mm,
And then the operator who is able to look at that SCADA, it gets a warning. Okay, well, I need to go adjust this.
right.
That's one way SCADA control. That's more just kind of monitoring, and then the actual operator goes and does the changes. What happened down in Florida and what some facilities have is two-way communication with their SCADA, where it is really control and acquisition. So you're able to have the SCADA program automatically do that response based on the sensor information coming in, which sounds fantastic. It's been around, since the 1960s in its very earliest form. But because the one tragic flaw again with this, there has to be a better way of doing this, is that it's housed.
Parties.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned the idea about not trusting the data, because that, like I said, I founded my company last year.
Mm-hmm.
The cyber attack on Oldsmar was just in February of this year.
Mm.
So I actually founded my company based on that data trust issue
Oh
that
gosh.
you were talking about. That's kind of what the first idea was that brought me to, hey, blockchain, smart contracts. What if we start, combining this stuff? And it was born because at my own utility, we were having an issue with one of our industrial users
Mm.
where, anything that gets flushed down a toilet, swirled down a drain, whether it be from a home or a hospital or from, food processing facility, chemical processing facilities, all of that process water that they need to make their end product ends up going somewhere. Well, that somewhere is a wastewater utility.
Mm.
So we take it and we still need to chew up the bad stuff and turn it into good stuff, so that when it's
Mm-hmm.
discharged to the river, it doesn't negatively impact the environmental quality of that river.
Yep.
So unfortunately, while 99% of the time everything is fine, the utility is able to keep up with stuff. Unfortunately, every once in a while, occasionally at 3 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday or a holiday when no one's really paying attention, there will be a toxic slug of water that comes down
Oh,
that is usually from one of these industrial facilities.
facility. Uh-huh.
And sometimes they don't realize what's going on. It's an accident. Again, we're all human. Oopsies happen.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's, they know exactly what's going on and they're just trying to hope nobody notices it.
Mm.
So we end up, as the receiving utility, we end up, the next morning coming and being like, okay, well, why are we getting no treatment? Wastewater treatment relies on biology quite a lot. So we
Mm.
rely on microorganisms to chew up that bad stuff, and so that we're able to have it as a clean discharge before it gets disinfected and then sent out to the river. So if we receive something that is toxic to those microorganisms, they can't do their job. So we don't end up with that same high quality level of treatment that we're used to.
Right.
And unfortunately,
And
few
this is not
utilities.
like the Amazon package, right? You got a broken package you can
Correct.
return back,
We can't
but
just
you
be like,
cannot
okay,
return.
no, we're not taking this. No,
No,
it's
yeah.
done. You know,
Interesting. Yeah.
we're out there, popping manhole covers in the street trying to figure out where this gnarly discharge came from, because very few utilities actually have some sort of sensor system out in their collection system where they're able to get that advance warning that something bad is coming toward them. We
Absolutely.
don't have that capability. We're in reactive mode. Like you said, it's not an Amazon package where we see it at the front doorstep and we're like, nope, we're not bringing you inside. We
That's
already
not my
have it. And
package. Yes.
yeah, exactly. We already have it coming to us, whether it's our package or not. It's inside. We opened
Wow.
it up, and now we have to figure out how to deal with it. So we're
That's
scrambling
very
around trying.
reactive.
Oh, very much so. And that's
Mm.
why I said, 99% of the time, everything is fine. But every once in a while,
There was something
something
happen.
something creates a catastrophic event where, we need to
Oh,
figure out, okay, well, what do we do? And physically, how do we handle this? And also, after the utility has regained control of things, which can be months. In my utility's case, we had a bad discharge of something with a high metals content. We were shut down for 3 months. We were like
wow.
barely working because we had no biology. We had no way to treat the waste. I mean, we couldn't say, no, people, stop flushing your toilets, stop using your drains. So what we ended up having to do was just try to figure out, okay, well, how can we still accept incoming flow? Because again, we can't tell people to stop sending it to us, but also, we're violating our discharge permit by the DEP. We're violating clean water rules. How can we mitigate that? So we had to stop accepting outside waste. We had to stop accepting things that would normally be an additional revenue stream for us, that we kind of process on the side to kind of keep us going. This way we don't have to increase rates on our public. Nobody likes it when their water or wastewater bill goes up anymore. So if we need to utilize more chemicals to treat the waste, we need to have more manpower hours that we're charging, because again, we're popping manhole covers trying to figure out what to do. We're having people work overtime to make sure that we're able to maintain some minor level of treatment. We're paying permit violation fines. We have all these additional costs that the utility is basically just eating. So
Wow.
normally what happens is there's a hard copy contract between the utility and the industrial user. It's a giant if-then statement on paper that lawyers haggle over for like a year before everybody is finally okay with where they're at. And it's like, all right, well, if you discharge up to this level, you are going to be charged this much because it will cost us this much to treat your waste.
That's right.
If you exceed this level, either in the amount that you're sending through or the strength of something that you're sending through, then you get charged this amount plus a surcharge, because, well, it
That
costs
makes
us
sense.
more to process it.
Uh-huh.
So we're not going to charge our residential users a higher amount to compensate for what you sent us. We're going to directly charge you a surcharge. Okay, everybody agrees to that. Unfortunately, and again, my utility is going through this. Unfortunately, that contract, if the industrial user really wanted to say, screw you, I'm not doing it, we don't really have any recourse. There's no teeth to it. We can't say, oh, okay, well, we're not going to accept your waste anymore. I mean,
Mm.
we can, but realistically, we're not going to go over and shut down somebody's connection so that they can't flush their toilets or swirl their drains anymore.
Mm.
We can threaten to do that, which every once in a while has gotten people to wake up and be like, okay, yes, here, I will pay you that. But there's no recourse to it. All right, so like I said, this is what first sparked my, hey, there has to be a better way of doing this. If we're able to get a sensor network out there, digitize the information so that the utility does have an early warning system, and then automate and digitize that smart contract, make it from a dumb contract to a smart contract, have that financial compensation be automatically executed from the industrial user to the utility, then it keeps everybody honest. It keeps everybody accountable to the agreement that they've already agreed to. it makes it so that instead of saying, oh, well, I'm the industrial user, I have my own on-site lab that's running this data and they're getting different numbers from your on-site lab as the utility. We don't have dueling lab managers where it's like, no, your data is wrong. No, your data is wrong. We have one single point of focus. We have one single point of truth on that data set, and that's through the sensor network. If we can agree to that, then we can agree to that automatic financial compensation based on the data that's being uploaded to the blockchain, because everybody sees it. It's immutable. Like you said, it brings people to the table, because by taking out the potential for a distrust, you're able to build those relationships up, because you're no longer fighting over whose data is valid and whose isn't.
Makes
So
sense. Wow.
like I said, it's interesting
a-
that you brought that up, because that's exactly how things kind of started out for me. And so that's why I'm saying, like, this technology isn't an end in itself. It's a means to ends, or potential multiple ends, once we start being able to develop it and look at that water supply as something more than just a scientific or an engineering issue.
Right.